webcast brought to you by Comcast of the Twin Cities. It's Black History Month, and this month, for a period of 10 days or so, we're doing a series of special interviews with people in community. We're asking them to reflect on the notion of civil rights, to look at the civil rights movement and how that intersects with their personal story, with their family story, and with their professional life. I'm pleased to have as a guest Kenya McKnight. Kenya McKnight is the founder and CEO of Black Women's Wealth Alliance. She's a resident of North Minneapolis. She's been here for 33 years. She currently is a graduate student at St. Mary's University in Nova Scotia, Halifax. It's in Canada. She's studying the management of cooperatives and credit unions. That study is centered on global economies and cooperative economics. For the past 17 years, Kenya McKnight has served in a variety of economic development sector capacities. She's worked with being a direct service provider to more than 400 micro businesses, providing education, planning, training, technical support. She's also worked as a transportation equity leader on a national, statewide, regional, city, and neighborhood level in the past 8 years. She's got a track record, a proven track record of success and getting results and leveraging resources, including human capital and program support for projects that advance racial equity. Kenya, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Let me say that Kenya and I are distant cousins as well. We discovered through DNA that we belong to the same general family. I think our common family is the Sykes family.
Sykes.
Out of Mississippi, so it's always good to talk to you.
Yeah, and Nat Turner.
And Nat Turner.
Yeah.
We go back. So
Yeah.
something in our blood makes us want to fight, right?
Yes,
Well,
yes.
so, let's start with that, because my interest, Kenya, is understanding, getting your words on what it is that moves you. When I say civil rights, what chord does it strike in your mind and in your spirit? How are you related to the notion of the civil rights movement in this country?
Yeah, I think the vigor and fight for our people for freedom, justice, and equality. That's what comes to mind. I think about my great-grandmother and the work she did as a housing advocate in Illinois, and just how feisty she was and how persistent she was about us being engaged in community, about us caring, about how we conducted ourselves, about how we represented our family, and about how hard she and my great-grandfather and other folks worked for us to be here. She didn't let us forget that. So foundationally, that's what comes to mind. But, of course, as I mature into an adult and, do a little bit more homework on our history as a people, I'm grateful.
When did you become and how did you become aware of both the challenge of race, of culture, and the obligation that you personally had to take on as part of the solution to the problems that we experience?
Yeah.
Is there some story, some experience, something that happened that made the aha moment for you?
Yeah, so I grew up in Minnesota, Minneapolis, mostly north side, but I'm from Kankakee, Illinois, and that's a small, and we would go back every summer until I was about 13, 14. I did not know I was Black. It was not a conversation. It was a small segregated, little city. The north side of Kankakee was segregated in Black. And so I barely saw a white person until I came to Minnesota. But I didn't know I was Black until I came to Minnesota. So that was
What you saw growing up was people.
I saw people.
And they all look like you.
And they looked like me. They were your teachers. They were your, your store owners. They were, just how the Black communities were back in the days. So I grew up seeing that. So my perspective on Blackness, on success and what that looks like is shaped from a perspective of Blackness, because that's what I saw. So coming here is a different story. And so culture was infused in me as a young person. That's part of why I'm strong in that area. And my great-grandmother was an entrepreneur. She ran a candy store. She made her own hog head cheese, ice cream. We helped her sell the penny candy, icy cups, all of that. So we always had to work. We had paper routes. We was in vacation Bible school. So foundationally, we had to be engaged and actively. And then I come from a big family, so I have cousins. So we all had to, act cooperatively in the way we live. It wasn't about you. It was about us. You know, we shared a lot. So that's my foundation. Even when I moved to Minnesota, like I said, my mom would send us back home every summer. So that instilled in me. And then you grow up and living in a place like North Minneapolis, like Northside, is cool. I love my people. But I also didn't see the same kind of fight.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? The same kind of pride from Illinois. I mean, I know it was here, but, you know, it's not the same, you know what I'm saying, as it was when I was a younger person. And I didn't get that part of Minnesota because I had that in Illinois. So by the time I matured to an adult, necessarily the strong black culture, like we don't have to think about if we black or not, we just black. You know, it's a part of who we are. Here it's like a program, it's a process, it's an event, an activity or something like that. So
You
it's
have
really
to evaluate and make an assessment. Right?
yeah, it's
sure.
really different in Minnesota in some ways. And so for me, growing up in the sector that I did over north, which I would call like the sector of people who are not engaged, don't know what's going on, you know, kind of stuff, that whole environment. I just know struggle, right, from that environment. And I grew up here wanting to make a difference. And I've already had some tools from my foundation that I knew it was possible to have something to make a difference because I come from a community where that is what it was. So not seeing it around me growing up here compelled me to want to create it. You know, I mean, you know, because like where I come, we care about each other. Like we know, like half the city's my family. So,
Let me stop for a second. I'm Al McFarlane.
if that makes sense, I'm sorry.
It's great. This is Conversations with Al McFarlane. We're doing a series now on the founder and CEO of Black Women's Wealth Alliance. Now, if you like this conversation, this content,